Welcome back to Tulips and Honey. Oh, the screen looks funny again. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but I'm going to fix it really quick. Don't worry about it. Almost fixed it. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay, because, well, I sort of knocked my entire sound thingy over onto a drink, and then the drink knocked over onto the sound thingy, and so it's wet. I dried it off quite well, but hopefully you guys can hear me okay. And it didn't do any lasting damage, hopefully. Oh, yes, you can hear me? Okay, and it doesn't sound weird. I knocked over an entire drink onto it, so it was a great way. I had thankfully already hit live. So there's that. I was already live and had to just, rush around as quickly as possible. And thankfully, Kaylee is amazing, and she brought me another drink. And yay, you guys can hear me. That's super exciting. How do you still have a functioning studio? I don't have a functioning studio. I have a green screen that I tack up to whatever wall is in whatever room that's available at any given time, because if I had a studio, how long would it last before I destroyed it or burned it or this is like the third microphone I've gone through, but I have to say I don't think I've actually broken a microphone yet. It's just that for holidays I keep getting new equipment as gifts. So I did, in defense of Chris, I did knock over that big light I was just talking about, I think maybe like last week, the big light that I used to use. I knocked that sucker over constantly, and it would like break the bulb, and I'd have to either replace the bulb or buy a whole new light to do things. So these little lights that I have now, I guess I should maybe do another background clip or something for everybody to show you guys what I'm using. But these little lights that I'm using now, even though they feel sort of flimsy, if you knock into them, you bump into them, there's nothing to shatter, there's nothing to break. So I guess that's kind of good for me, since I'm not, the most well-poised podcaster that's ever podcasted. I might, however, be the least poised podcaster that's ever podcasted. But either way, I have to tell you guys all hi in the comment section. But before I do, I should probably tell you, in case there's somebody new to the show today, what we're even doing here. This is Tulips and Honey's mega live event. I'm Lauren Hereford from the Tulips and Honey podcast. And I'm just here basically for, fiddlesticks, I forgot the Oreos. I know there are people listening downstairs. I have a set of Oreos to try for you guys today. They're on top of the fridge. So for my loving family that said they were going to listen to the program, I have Oreos on top of the fridge. If you could bring those to me, that'd be great. I knew I was forgetting something when I clicked live. I was like, I'm forgetting something important. And just as I was trying to figure out what I'd forgotten, I knocked over my thingamabob and made a huge mess and got distracted. So for whichever wonderful, sweet family member is listening that wants to perhaps check on those Oreos and bring them to me. I do have Oreos for you guys today, but we also have some fun stuff to talk about, some important questions to get to. How do you forget the Oreos? That's the question, Chris. Did I do it on purpose because they're probably going to be disgusting? Maybe. If possible. Wonderful husband right here brought them to me. You're so fantastic. I love you so much. See why I love it? Look, there he is. It's a magic hand that just floated in out of nowhere to bring me chocolate peanut butter pie Oreos. I don't even understand why. Just why at this point. Why? Why? Oh, I was here for horticulture and beekeeping. Wrong podcast. You know what is so awesome about that is that I can guarantee you there have been people, because I do it if I'm trying to actually find something and I type in tulips and honey, it pulls up all of this stuff that's literally about taking care of tulips so that you can produce a specific type of honey. And I'm sure there are people that are like, what is this show even about? It's not about honey, and it's not actually even about tulips. But it is about Reformed theology, which has to do with the acronym of tulips. And it's about being gracious, which has to do with having our words drip with honey. So, I mean, you guys have probably already heard that 1.5 million times since you've been watching this podcast. But Patrick made me explain it to you guys. So it's not really my fault. Oh, no, you know what? Oh, my goodness. I forgot something really important that I have to add on here. And I'm not sure if the screen is going to disappear while hopefully the screen won't disappear while I'm adding this on, but oh no, it did disappear. Okay. This is important though. And this is actually about Patrick. So, you guys hang tight. Patrick joined me on the program last week. I do have a sneak peek for you. This is actually not a sneak peek. It's not the sneak peek, but it is a portion of the episode that I thought was super important. And so, yeah, this is for you guys to watch. Here you go. Please do enjoy this little clip that I have for you here. Hold on, that's just not going to do. This is too important. I mentioned it in maybe Facebook. I'm not exactly sure where specifically I mentioned it, but I did mention that Patrick came up with a completely different answer for the pineapple pizza question, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy this. So here you go, pineapple pizza, the heresy of our generation, or is it?
I guess to be fair, like, it's not the worst bad thing that you can hold to.
Blasphemy!
So my question for you then is how you're going to handle that reprimand from God whenever you do actually get there to heaven to face the judgment seat, and you have to answer for how sinfully you indulged in pineapple pizza.
2 Samuel 16:1-2 says, "And the king said to Ziba, 'Why have you brought these?' Ziba answered, 'The donkeys are for the king's household to ride on. The bread and summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine for those who faint in the wilderness to darkness. Is that not pineapple on pizza? Summer fruit on bread? Yes, yes, declares the Lord.' 2 Samuel 16:1-2. Yes, amen, Lord, amen."
What's wrong with you people?
Be careful of taking and applying verses that don't follow where they're directed to.
That was fun to make. I'm not gonna lie. So, did I chop up what Patrick actually originally said and switch it around? I sure did. Yep, I sure did. That little last portion had absolutely nothing to do with his 2 Samuel 16 usage. I thought that was really fun, though. I really thought that was too much fun for me to not mess with. But honestly, that really is like the best response to the pineapple pizza question. And I feel like, you know, in response, we as true, genuinely sanctified believers will now have to look for some sort of way of responding in kind. And then at the same time, I'm wondering, am I supporting the twisting of Scripture? I should really think about that, because as Patrick said at the end, we shouldn't do that. So, and you know what? Actually, I think I might save that little clip of Patrick saying that so that every time I see somebody saying something unbiblical, I'll have that clip to put in there. That would be really, really fun. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. It's not the sneak peek, though. I do have a sneak peek for you guys coming up that I'll play at the very, very end. But I had that, and it was fun, and I nearly forgot it. Thank goodness, right in the middle of the show, right while we were live, I remembered it last minute, and decided to just, bippity boppity boop that right on in there. So, but I mean, beforehand we were talking about maybe Oreos. I do have the Oreos for today. That I'm going to be trying for you guys in a minute, but we have some other cool stuff to be talking about. We have some questions that were sent in. We have some prayer requests. I have some cool suggestions for you guys. That's basically what the Mega Live list is supposed to be. It's not actually supposed to be all about Oreos and squirrels. That's y'all's fault. So I don't think it's particularly healthy for me to blame you all for my own personal failings as a podcaster, but I'm going to do it anyways. And before I do any further, blame all of this on you guys, I do want to say hi to everybody in the comment section. So hi to Mark, hi Josh from the Godcast podcast, hi Chris from Voice of Reason Radio, Mark, I said Mark already, sorry, hi Kristen, Mark, you got said hi to twice, hi to Patrick from Cave to the Cross Apologetics, of course, and let's see, did I catch everybody? I think I caught everybody. Okay, and let's keep going then. If I missed your name, I'm sorry, the comments were coming through quickly. So I do have some cool suggestions, but first, before we talk about anything else, I want to tell you guys some stuff that's going on that is super not cool, and very frustrating, difficult timing as well, but you guys all know about everything happening with Aaron Coates. Of course, I guess technically what was happening with the Coates family and other families now, unfortunately, as well, pastors in Canada. And Aaron Coates has been, of course, very vocal and very public and helping quite a bit with all of these really, really cool things. So because of that, and because of everything going on in their, I guess, their world, their lives, everything happening, how very public it is, for whatever reason, as you guys know, of course, and I'll let me pull up the picture, Aaron is speaking at our women's conference. Here you go. Here is the information. There's Aaron's pretty face right there in the middle, and she's speaking at our women's conference, of course, so she's preparing for that, as we all are. It's just a couple of weeks away, and the Open Hearts in a Closed World Instagram page, as well as Aaron Coates' page, have been banned, shadow banned. They've been prohibited for posting certain things. There's been absolutely no explanation as to why. I mean, I don't like the fact, I'm not saying this to mean that I agree with it, but for Aaron, because she's very vocal and she's going through all this stuff and she's been proclaiming the truth of God's word so strongly, it maybe looks like something that you could understand. She's probably had an influx of new followers, maybe. I'm not sure. But I don't see how on earth that leads to Open Hearts being shut down on Instagram. It was really, really frustrating to see because, of course, we do want to go ahead and go live with the conference on Instagram. It's a part of the little page. I don't know if it's on that picture, but I think it is. Let's see. Maybe. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Is it on here? It's not. Well, there's a specific clip, a specific little picture that we have that shows that we're going to be going live on YouTube and Facebook, AGTV, as well as Instagram. And now, 2 weeks before the conference comes and is prepared, they've shadow banned all of these accounts. So if you guys could be praying for us, it was actually, I don't know if you guys remember this, but last year, at the end of last year, I did an entire episode about banning Christians on social media and all the things that were happening with that. And it was part of the concern when we first started planning for this conference. Part of the concern was whether or not we were going to struggle with being banned on different social media sites. And to be honest with you guys, by the point of, I don't know, maybe last week, I just thought, you know what, we're not really going to have to worry about that because there hasn't been any pushback from any of the social media sites. And I don't know if I said it out loud or not, but obviously there's no such thing as being jinxed and there's no such thing as speaking things into existence. But I did totally think that thought, and now we're really struggling with that. So if you guys could be praying for that. And also, if you see anything from Open Hearts in a Closed World, be sure to share it and stuff so that we can really, it looks like you've been exposed to radical content. Can Facebook help? Oh my goodness. It looks radical, doesn't it? Look at these radical women. My goodness. Ugh. They just look crazed, don't they? They don't look incredibly sweet and dear and wonderful. You certainly can't find their lectures and teachings and sessions and stuff anywhere online to show that they're just the sweetest, most wonderful women I just got in the mail today. Actually, I was really excited about it. I have Martha Peace's book here, and I'm super excited because The Excellent Wife. Now, obviously, I'm going to read this in a Kindle or audio version because I can't actually. I struggle to read physical books, but I have it here physically because, well, first of all, I have a friend that I'm going to give it to here in town, but I bought it to have it here for the conference so that whenever I record my my intermissions, I have like one of her books here, and I have some Susan Heck books, and I have, of course, Brooke Bart's books. So I have all these really exciting little books here that I can show everybody. I'm super excited. Maybe Facebook is concerned about the possibility of women teaching men. I mean, we can't actually have a situation where women are allowed to, oh goodness, I can't even, because can you even say there's such a thing as women? Maybe that's why we got banned, because it's a women's conference and there's no such thing. I don't know. Interesting that maybe the first time I've heard they with physical books. I can't, well, okay, that's not true. I can totally actually read physical books. It's just that with the dyslexia, it takes me longer. So, I don't have the patience to try to make my brain focus on anything for long enough to read physical books. But I mean, and I didn't realize it was going to be this thick either, because, I mean, you just sit and read audiobooks long enough, and you really forget. You forget that books can be this long. I have absolutely no idea which of the 72 genders requires head coverings. Don't even bring up head coverings. I refuse to get involved in that discussion at the moment. Not going to do it. I think Michelle Leslie posted something that was really helpful a while back, though. I can't remember exactly when it was that I saw it, but I do remember seeing it. And I think I also saw Patricia in the comments. So hi to Patricia. Hi, I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Actually, I hope you are all of you guys are having a wonderful day, except for Patrick. He's definitely not having a wonderful day because he still hasn't repented from his, pineapple pizza stuff. I love audiobooks. I can clean house, exercise, or go grocery shopping and read. Yes, I love it too, Lori. It is so fantastic. Also, hi to Lori in the comments. I'm glad to have you here. Cave trying to crash the internet here. He's always up to mischief. That's why we had him back on the program, so that he could commit mischief on like recording, and I could show you guys his mischief. Okay, so let's see the next thing. The next thing I want to tell you guys about. Speaking of Kristen and Patrick's competitiveness, because of course they are competing. Wow. That was rough. Because, of course, they are competing, and we know Patrick was on the program, so I'm going to be, of course, publishing on Monday the new episode with Patrick. We have to have Kristen back on the program, and so I'm actually going to be able to record with Kristen on Wednesday, and we're going to be talking about worship music, and this came about because Kristen is doing something really fun over there on TikTok. If you guys don't, if you are on TikTok, if you don't know this, there are actually really solid Reformed folks over on TikTok doing some really difficult work, because TikTok is a mess and it's a difficult app to maneuver through without, you can't actually stop the inappropriate stuff from slipping up, so it's maybe a little bit more difficult. But Kristen is one of those folks over there on TikTok really doing some great work, and she recently started going through songs, line by line, and explaining whether or not a specific song is biblical, based line by line. Audiobooks are hard for me. I'm very easily distracted, so I have to remain focused. Books tend to be harder to follow than, say, a podcast. I'm not sure why that is for me. That's really funny. You know what, Chris? Actually, the majority of people, most people, in fact, cannot read or listen to audiobooks. It's like a thing that most people can't do. I don't know if it's just a weird brain thing with me, that like my brain works better with audiobooks. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that like audiobooks, but the majority of people can't actually listen and take it in. So that's you're totally not alone there. How to choose which colors for hair are most biblical. Patrick is antagonizing Kristen in the comment section again. This is really fun. This is fun, you guys. We're just going to have to keep this going and see which one of you by the end of the year is able to be on my program enough, and eventually it won't be my program anymore. It'll be the Patrick and Kristen show. So there's that. Yeah, Kristen's doing a fantastic job, though, going through this line by line. And we were talking on the phone. Was that last night or the night before? I'm not sure how long ago it was by this point. It feels like it was yesterday, but it might not have been, where we were talking, and this was just such a fascinating subject to me that I was like, okay, well, you're going to have to come on the program. So if you guys have questions about worship music, what's biblical, what's not biblical, and you want to have that opportunity to, everybody except for Patrick. Patrick's not allowed to ask questions because his questions are all going to be silly. They're so mean to me. Oh, poor Kristen. I'm sorry. Are there still a lot of mean folks on there? I hope not. I hope it's not too terribly bad. But I imagine that it's not very pretty because nobody is as mean as professing believers are on social media. I have talked with so many wonderful. Well, I guess wonderful is the wrong word for it. We're okay. So let me preface this by saying none are good. No, not one. We're all wretches. We're all sinners. But I have talked to so many really kind atheists online that are engaging, and not every time. Okay, there's people online of all persuasions that are not particularly happy-pappy people. But the meanest comments that I get are usually from professing Christians. I've never had an atheist call me the Antichrist or a racist, but I have had professing believers call me that. So I'm sure for Kristen that it is not easy to go up against some of those bands. It must be pretty difficult, actually, whenever you're posting about people's favorite heretical bands. But fun whenever you do a good one, right? Fun whenever you have somebody really, really good. Oh, hi, Cami. Did I pronounce it wrong? Better late than never. I'm glad that you're here. Don't worry. We've just talked about nonsense so far. So, anyways, okay, let's see here. What we have next. Okay, we do have some cool questions, but let me get through all the suggestions that I have first, because the questions are going to take me a hot minute to get through. Not all of them, but one of them in particular. So, okay, check out this week. Speaking of Patrick, TikTokers take the mark of the beast. Click here to read my 83-page document. Patrick, if it's not at least 400 pages long, I'm not going to read it, okay? That's not enough. That's not nearly enough invective for me to actually spend my time. And does it have any good conspiracy theories? Because I actually know from experience that you're fantastic at making those up on the spot, because that's what you're doing a lot in our interview. It was really funny. Okay, so actually, speaking of Patrick, they did this coming, I'm assuming this is the coming up episode, because I just listened to your stuff today and I didn't see this on there. This week's Cave to the Cross Apologetics is an interview episode about the importance of the Old Testament for Christians. The pastor came out of communist Romania, and they talked a little bit about that too. So that's really exciting. I can't wait to listen to that, because that's a whole different worldview to have to deal with going into that particular topic. Wow. I'm glad I haven't missed out on anything significant. My legal name is Kathleen May, but never been called that. Oh, okay. Well, that's cute though that you mixed it. That you put the Kathleen and the May together. That's cute. I like it. Just finished editing right now, so it'll be on Patreon too. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, I'm a Patreon of Cave to the Cross Apologetics because they're one of my absolute favorite podcasts. So, I get to watch that then, and I'm super excited. Yay, I'll get a little email notifying me. Let's see, my wrath. I'm saving my wrath for someone actually wants to legitimately discuss the SBC and plagiarism. Oh, Mark. You're just having all kinds of fun then online, huh, with that wrath? Because that's a fun topic. Is it fun? There's some feisty people in that group too. I'm just saying. But Josh from the Godcast does a lot of really great explanations of that kind of stuff. So you should probably subscribe to not just Cave to the Cross Apologetics and Voice of Reason, but also Godcast podcast, and a fourth podcast for you guys today. Or maybe check out your YouTube. Their YouTube page is actually what I linked to here. A really, really great sermon over on Exposit the Word. That's, of course, our brother in Christ, David Knight. I'm always super excited to get to point you guys to his stuff, because he's super solid, and he's just a wonderful brother in Christ. Such a sweet, wonderful brother in Christ, all the way over in England. So it was really fun to get to talk to him, because he had such a cool accent whenever I got a chance to interview him. And I love to get to interview people with fun accents, because mine is so boring. I mean, I could give you guys the country accent, but as far as pronunciations, when I started to decide to podcast, it became really important to work on my pronunciation. Now, that's all fine and good until I get angry, and then the hick stuff comes out, and I can't control it. But that's why usually I'm talking so fast, because it's easier for me to moderate my my accents, my pronunciation, if I don't think too much about it. It's not good if I sit and think too much about it. I don't know, maybe that's just my weird brain. But anyways, Exposit the Word, absolutely fantastic channel. And this specific sermon is a this specific Spurgeon sermon is about the being whether or not you're lukewarm. And that is always something that a lot of people, they struggle with. Of course, you guys know I was a false convert for 10 years, over 10 years. My birthday, my new birth day is coming up on the 4th. So, of course, 2015, July 4th of 2015 at about 11 o'clock at night, after listening to a couple of hours worth of Paul Washer sermons with my amazing husband, I went into the bathroom and we were at a random little hotel in the middle of nowhere. Well, not in the middle of nowhere, but I mean, Bismarck technically is in the middle of nowhere. So we're in this little bitty hotel in this brand new town. And I just went into the bathroom and basically, after recognizing that I did not deserve to be saved, that I didn't deserve anything other than hell, asked God that to forgive me of all of my sins. And I repented of my sins and put my faith in Jesus Christ, and woke up the next day with all things being new. Lauren will make a covenant on behalf of America on that day. That's a total plug for our episode on Monday, in case you guys were wondering, because I totally dragged Patrick onto my program to discuss a silly little idea that actually peters out into a lot of, I don't know if people realize in those sort of circles that a lot of what is going on is sort of based on the idea that George Washington created a covenant on behalf of America with God. And so I dragged him onto the program. And he was like, I've never heard of this until you made me study it. Poor guy. But he did a fantastic job. He absolutely does a fantastic job. I can't wait for you guys to see it, because not just dealing with that, but like the entirety of sort of the religiosity of, American nationalism, maybe. I'm not sure exactly how you would say it. But we do talk about Jonathan Cahn. I am so excited that you mentioned that, because that's exactly where my brain went whenever I was writing the outline for the episode. I was like, we have to talk about the Harbinger. We have to. I don't think we actually mentioned Jim Baker. No, Patrick, you did mention Jim Baker, right? George Washington covenanting with God. First time I heard something like that. Yeah, so that's super funny, because that's exactly what Patrick said. But before I was saved, back before July 4th of 2015, I was heavy into politics. And that was my mindset. My mindset was that this was a Judeo-Christian nation, and that we were like in a covenant with God, that this was basically the idea of being like the new Israel. And yeah, it was nonsensical, basically. Just an idol is always going to be nonsensical, because there's only one true God. It didn't take me very long after getting saved to recognize that it was quite ridiculous what I had believed about this world and about this country and our place in history and our place in God's redemptive plan. It was quite exaggerated. So I was excited to get the chance to talk to Patrick about it, because usually if there's like a political theological issue, I usually drag Patrick on, because he's hilarious with that stuff. So you guys are going to love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But also make sure that you, I put a link to the Cave to the Cross Apologetics website, I think, where you can find all of their information, because I mention it at the end of the program. They've got some great resources there, and all of their content is there. So, but subscribe too. And also for all the podcasts that I mention, if once you subscribe, you should definitely leave like really nice, wonderful reviews for them, because I hear that leaving reviews is important. Let's see what's next here. In my suggestions, I did leave a link to Brooke Bart's book, Chronic Love, Trusting God While Suffering with chronic illness down in the descriptions, because last week we talked about it a ton and I didn't have a link for it, so I wanted to make sure that I put it there. Okay, so that's all of the suggestions. Let's go ahead and get to the questions. So this is going to be fun, but it's also going to be, a tangent, maybe, possibly. It could possibly be a tangent. I might be about to tangent to you guys. I need a tangent button, a button that I can click when I'm about to go on a tangent and warn everybody to go watch something else until my tangent is over. I'm kidding. This is important. But I guess I would probably say that about all my tangents, wouldn't I? Let me give you a little squirrel picture then. And you know what? I also forgot to show you guys. I didn't get the chance to pull up a video of the puppies. Oh no. I have a video of the puppies, and it's super cute because one of them was crawling on Clementine's back trying to find her, the ninnies for food. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I'm not sure. But I forgot to put that in my little thingy-mabob, my queue, and I can't pull it off of my phone while I'm live because that would take forever. But anyways, here's a squirrel picture. Squirrel! I didn't actually squirrel. There was no actual squirrel. Have I stayed on topic for a while? Hey, man, Mayoshi in the house. Hi, Mayoshi. Glad to see you here. Okay. Tangents. I'll answer these questions with some tangents. Then I'll share with you guys whether or not this chocolate peanut butter pie. Why? Why, though? Chocolate peanut butter pie? I have no idea why. I just don't know. We're going to see. I have a feeling, seeing as how it says naturally and artificially flavored, that it's going to be one of those that is gross, but we'll see. We'll see. We're gonna get into that in a second. But first, I'll answer these questions, and then I'll share with you guys about the Oreos and the prayer requests, and then I will give you guys the sneak peek that you're actually here for, because that's really what you're here for, right? Mayoshi, you missed the pineapple pizza thing, and I know that you're probably one of the only people in the comment section right now that's on my side about the pineapple pizza thing, so I'm gonna play it again. You guys, I'm going to play it again. I'm sorry. If you guys already watched this, it's only 1 minute. It's only 1 minute long. And it's really funny. And it's Patrick refuting himself.
I guess to be fair, it's not the worst bad thing that you can hold to.
Blasphemy!
So my question for you then is how you're going to handle that reprimand from God whenever you do actually get there to heaven to face the judgment seat, and you have to answer for how sinfully you indulged in pineapple pizza.
2 Samuel 16:1-2 says, and the king said to Ziba, why have you brought these? Ziba answered, the donkeys are for the king's household to ride on, the bread and summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine for those who faint in the wilderness to darkness. Is that not pineapple on pizza? Summer fruit on bread? Yes, yes, declares the Lord. 2 Samuel 16:1-2. Yes, amen, Lord. Amen.
What's wrong with you people?
Be careful of taking and applying verses that don't follow where they're directed to.
Yeah, that was important. I'm glad that I was able to play that a second time, mostly just for you, Mayoshi. Okay, so somebody named Justin Hereford asks about whether or not Oreos are keto friendly. Don't forget we're on the fad diet. Okay, I'm being silly. That's my amazing husband, and he's hilarious. He's actually the one that brought me up these Oreos. So, are they on the keto diet? No, they are not. I'm gonna guarantee you, because the keto diet is all about not ingesting carbohydrates. There's 21 grams of carbohydrates in every 2 cookies. Don't ask me about the fiber because there's not any in these cookies. So, but don't worry, I'm sure I'll only be able to take a little bit of nibble out of it because I'm sure it's going to be disgusting. I doubt I'll eat the whole thing. You may chew, but not swallowing. The last time I nearly vomited food up all on the show, though, was whenever they made me eat pineapple pizza, babe. I don't think they're going to want to see me throw up Oreos. I did almost chuck it up whenever we did the birthday Oreos, though. Those were disgusting. Worst foods ever. I thought that was the Atkins diet. The keto diet is very similar. There's a few differences. Like you actually, you can have, I can't remember all of the differences because I've tried the Atkins thing and it definitely did not work. But my husband is doing the keto diet. And because my husband is doing the keto diet and I'm a super supportive wife that doesn't want to cook 2 different meals, I'm doing the diet with him. Now, while he was at work last night, because he does work night shifts, Did I maybe at 3 a.m. put Oreos in a glass of milk and eat them? Nobody was here, so nobody saw it, so it didn't happen. It doesn't exist if nobody saw it. You can't prove it. You can't prove it. You can't disprove it, but you can't prove it, okay? Suppose you could count how many Oreos are left in the package. That might prove it. Don't do that, babe. Don't do that. Don't count the Oreos in the package. Walk away from the cabinet that has my secret stash of Oreos. Listen, I have to eat them before they go bad. Wait, no, Oreos don't go bad. I have no excuse. Anyways, well, we're just going to move on because there's important theological topics to talk about rather than the fact that I accidentally ate a couple of Oreos at 3 a.m. Because I couldn't sleep again. You guys, I really appreciate it. I just want to tell you, I appreciate everybody that's been praying for my health. I know that these past few months I've been even more of a space cadet than usual. And I have really appreciated all the prayers and people checking in on me and everything like that. I have been feeling a lot better recently over the past couple of weeks. I do feel a lot better than I have for a long time. It's not because of keto diet, because I only started that a few days ago. So I just baked cookies. What kind of cookies? I am a chocolate chip cookie person. Now, Oreos are only a constant theme because of you guys. Because at one point, I mentioned mega stuffed and most stuffed Oreos, and it just spiraled out of control, just like the pineapple pizza thing. People would legitimately think that this program is actually about squirrels, pizza, and Oreos, but it's not. Not even in that order. It might technically be about squirrels, though. That might actually be a thing. I don't know. But either way, I did just squirrel there. I better give you guys a squirrel and get a drink because I was supposed to be going on tangent. You guys distracted me. You distracted me with all of your tangents. No, not tangents. With all of your squirrels. That's what you distracted me with. So here's your squirrel carrying a pineapple pizza to throw away. Because that's where they belong, in the trash. They belong. All pineapple pizza belongs in a trash. Mayoshi, thank you. I'm glad that you noticed my shirt. It is a Tulips and Honey shirt. This is probably one of the few shirts that I have that are white. But I saw it in the bottom of my drawer because while I order white shirts from time to time, I don't actually usually wear anything white because, as we mentioned at the very beginning, before I could even start the program, I knocked my mic over, which hit all of the drinks that I have sitting here, which somehow tumped onto the microphone and made a huge mess. That's why I try not to wear white shirts very much. So, Mark, are they really most stuffed Oreos back in the convenience store? That's good news. It's really, really good news. I've been definitely messaging people. Is that available for purchase in other colors? It is. Yes, absolutely. Well, wait, is it? I'll check. I'll go check and make sure after this episode. Actually, I think I can click it while I'm talking to you guys and check, because if not, I will forget to check and let you know. Hopefully, I'm not going to click out of something important here and cause everything to go into like a spiral where I lose you and don't even realize that I've lost you because I'm spiraling. Hopefully that's not what's going to happen, but we'll see. But yes, this is one of the original, well, not original, but one of the t-shirts that hopefully are in there, because if not, it wouldn't make very much sense, since it's a shirt for you guys if you're fans. So if I haven't put it in the shirt store, then that's because I'm a goofball and I can't actually find the information. Okay, I'm going to try to remember to check that and see, because sometimes I'm a little forgetful. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Maybe not. Sometimes, every now and then, I can be a little forgetful. Hello, Sanders. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce that. I'm not doing very good with names lately. I don't know if you guys noticed that I said Josh Boyce instead of Josh Bice in the episodes that I did and the sneak peeks. So if you guys know a special way for me to go in and fix that on YouTube without having to pull the whole thing down and start it all over, that'd be great for me to know. Okay, what were we talking about though? We do have theological questions. Okay, you guys, I hope you're ready for this. And this is kind of funny because in the beginning of the interview with Patrick, one of my first questions is what they're going to be dealing with next. And I think, Patrick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think this was one of the topics that you mentioned about doing. But one of the questions that I have to share with you guys today is just a really easy, simple theological question to answer. Why did God create Satan if he knew Satan would fall and tempt Adam and Eve? Like the most simple, easiest question, right? Right? Yeah? Huh? Simple? Easy? This one came from my 10-year-old daughter. It's better than the time that she asked whether or not there were babies that drowned whenever Noah's flood came through. She was 4 when she asked me that question. She was 4. So, okay, but at least for this one, it's not just great theology. It is a question that people ask a lot of times. Is God good? If there's evil in existence, why would he allow evil to happen? Sort of that stream of thought. But before we can really parse through that kind of stuff, we have to deal with what evil actually is. And so I think it's important, because people do tend to say, did God create evil, since it's here and he created everything? When we're dealing with something like the term evil, you're not dealing with something tangible. You're not actually dealing with something you can hold on to, right? Evil isn't even something that exists. Evil is the absence of righteousness. In the same way that darkness doesn't exist, it's the absence of light. Cold doesn't exist. It's the absence of heat. Now, I live in a state, okay, I don't live here permanently, but right now, currently, for whatever weird reason, we came here right before winter, in a state where it gets negative 60 sometimes. Negative 60. You guys, literally, we get warnings on my phones that say, don't go outside for more than 2 minutes or you'll lose fingers and toes. Frostbite warnings. I grew up in Texas. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, you guys. The coldest it gets where I grew up was like 30 degrees. It's negative 30 degrees here for like 3 months of the year. It's insane here. Cold does not exist. Negative 30 degrees is simply the lack of heat. For whatever weird reason it exists in this state. Why on earth anybody lives here, I have no idea. For at least 4 months of the year, I feel like we should all, just for those 4 months, travel south for a little while, migrate for a bit, because it's ridiculous. But anyways, in the same way that cold is a lack of heat and darkness is an absence of light, evil is an absence of righteousness. So when God created the earth, he created in 9 days and called it good. The creation of this world negated the fact that there would be shadows, because there is a light. God created a light for the day and a light for the night. There were then shadows. He didn't have to specifically create the shadows that were going to be on the earth, because there was light, so therefore there's darkness. In the same way that God created and all things were good, evil exists, or I guess it exists in the fact that it's not actually tangible, but it's here because righteousness exists, because we have the example. We know that God is righteous, that he is just and holy. It's not something that he had to sit down and create. It is did I say 9 days? Wow, that's bad. That's bad. I said 9 days. What even is 9 days? Why is 9 days even in my head? 7 days. He created in 6 days and rested on the 7th. So sad. This is why live events are really rough. I think I did say 9 days, which means that in 9 days something important is happening and I don't know what it is. That's not good, you guys. What's happening in 9 days? Is that when the conference starts? No, because in 9 days it'll just be the 11th. The conference starts on the 12th. I don't even know. Something is happening in 9 days, though, or else I wouldn't have thought that. Anyways, if you guys do know what's happening in 9 days and you want to remind me, let me know, and I'll be forever thankful for that. So, anyways, that is the explanation of what evil is. So I feel like that's really important, because whenever people come to you and they say, there's, God created evil, therefore he can't be good, it's basically just a misunderstanding. We've said this for maybe 2 or 3 weeks in a row. There's category errors happening here. Category errors. They are categorizing something that is not physical with something that is physical, and explaining that is helpful if you want to start this conversation on a level foot. Now, in that light, Now we understand what evil is, not something that even needed to be created. God can't create perfect creatures. Now, this is something that people also say. And it's sort of the question of, can God create a rock so big that he can't move it? And the idea there is to trip you up, because you're supposed to know that, God can do anything, right? So if you say no or yes, whatever it is, it's supposed to be like this weird trick question. But there are things that God can't do. God can't lie. God cannot sin. He can't die. There are things that he can't do because he has attributes that are clearly defined in Scripture. God is holy. He does not sin. He is not man that he should lie. So, if God were to create perfect creatures, then he would be creating other gods. If he created other gods, he would no longer be the one true God, which is a part of his attributes. I love that song that you guys are talking about in the comment section. That's so funny because Justin and I were just listening to that the other day. How funny is that? This is the story of a girl down the river. Wait, I better not sing it because then I'll get flagged. Hi to Kaylee. I'm glad that you're here. We're going, Fiddlesticks, you have a new video on Musical Time Machine, and I meant to link to it and forgot. I'm so sorry, sis. You guys, hopefully you all remember there's 3 Kayleys, right? All 3 Kayleys have a last name that start with an H. How fun is that? We need to get you all name tags. It wouldn't help anything if you just... now I remember why you needed name tags, because you all spell your names differently, which is fun. And also, my daughter is one of the Kaylee H's, and she's just the sweetest ever. So it's fun to have so many other Kaylee H's. Okay, where were we, though? We were talking about whether or not God can create... Okay, yes. So, what is Musical Time Machine? Ooh, Chris, it's fantastic. So, she's basically giving short clips of, historical, basically, explanations, but focusing on music. So, it's something that we use for our homeschooling in our house, because she's got these fantastic little clips about the history of certain music and stuff like that. So, I'm trying to think about... I absolutely love her when she smiles, air guitar. You guys really want me to sing that song horribly for y'all if you're going to keep on quoting it, because I love that song so much. It's the best. It's seriously the best. Okay, oh, is it really? That's fun. Okay, I didn't know that's how you pronounce the name. We like California. You're so funny. Okay, I have not heard of that before. Oh, check it out, Chris. It's fantastic. She's in our group, though, in the Facebook group, so you've probably seen it. But there's so many different cool things that you probably have forgotten it. 9 Days was the name of the band that sang that. Oh, Mark. Okay, we just came full circle to why I mentioned 9 Days. That's a weird name for a band. That's a really, really... and I was surprised by the music video because it doesn't seem like it actually fits the song. But, nothing fit anything in the 90s. That's sort of why my brain doesn't work anymore. But what we were talking about was the reason why God didn't create perfect creatures, why Satan was able to fall. Because if there were perfect creatures, they would be God. And God cannot create other gods because a part of his attributes, a part of who he is that he is the one true God. So the creation that he has created, whether we're talking about angels or man, we're not perfect. Now the angels are way less without excuse because they literally were able to hang out up in glory and really see all of God's majesty. So it's harder to understand why some of the angels fell, but there was a clear purpose to God's redemptive plan. The reason why Satan fell, obviously, when Adam and Eve were tempted in the garden and they sinned, that wasn't a surprise to God, irregardless of anything anybody tells you. I know that there are a lot of pastors that will say ridiculously that God didn't know. Just at that point, I don't even care what the rest of the sentence is. No, just no. God is outside of time. He is outside of our little dimensionalities. He does know all things from the beginning and the end before anything was even created here. So anytime you hear a pastor saying God didn't know, or here's one. God looked down the corridor of time and saw that you were going to choose him. No, because that would mean God can learn. It's another thing he can't do. He can't learn new things. He didn't have to look through the corridors of time to learn anything new because he already knew it all. It's already there. He is outside of our time frame, so he doesn't have to learn anything. So both of those ideas, just, keep them with the pineapple pizza in the trash, because that's where that bad theology belongs. I know that that's maybe a little bit feistier than I usually am about bad theology, but whenever bad theology starts to mess with God's attributes, just like, I guess, was it Martin Luther or Calvin that said even a dog will bark to defend his owner? This right here, this is one of those things where this little, I don't want to call myself a dog. That I'm a wretch and a sinner, and I don't even deserve to be called a worm. So I don't know why I'm offended by the thought of calling myself a dog. Anyways, this little dog barks a little bit harder, louder, ferociously, whenever people start to impinge upon God's attributes. So, God, in his attributes, creates mankind, an imperfect creation. Adam and Eve sin, they fall. We are not born in the same way that Adam and Eve were created. The choice to fall, they had that, right? We are born of Adam, so we're born under the curse of sin. So we're not actually going to be able to choose whether or not to sin. We're already in this fallen world. We're going to sin. This world is fallen. So, irregardless of whether or not we back it all the way up to Adam and Eve, or we just focus on here and now, because I think people do like to back things up to Adam and Eve simply because it's an easier way to maybe make Christians stumble whenever you're discussing the theological background of evil. But Satan fell. He tempted Adam and Eve. They fell. The whole world is cursed. That's why we are in existence as imperfect creatures. Not just because of that, but also, like I mentioned, because of God's attributes, that he is the only one true God. So now we understand evil. Now we understand why we are flawed. So to put that all together, why does God allow evil things to happen? Now, R.C. Sproul has said something really fantastic about why God allows bad things to happen to good people. And we could stop it with that, but I'm going to go even further. But I just wanted to mention this first. Why does God allow bad things to happen to good people? That's only ever happened once. And that was someone who volunteered. Because there's only ever been one good person, and that's Jesus Christ. And he volunteered for the wrath of God to pour out on him so that we could be forgiven and adopted and sanctified. And I'm a little more emotional right now about the gospel because I'm coming up on my my 6th new birthday, and it always brings me back to realizing that I did not deserve this. I deserved hell, and God gave me grace anyways. It's absolutely ridiculous that a wretch like me would be given anything other than just immediate punishment. Righteously, justly, God would be just to have sent me to hell on July 3rd. And it just is that point where you recognize, and I think for probably like the first year, I probably repeated this so many times it was like annoying, but now I understand what Amazing Grace was talking about. The song made so much more sense to me once getting saved, because it really truly is amazing and unthinkable and unfathomable that God, it is that verse, what love is this, that God, while I was yet a sinner, it's just fantastic. It really truly is Amazing Grace. It's amazing. It's something that my mind just cannot seem to wrap around, no matter how many years go by. But to get back to the actual topic, sorry, I kind of got a little off topic there with the gospel. My bad. But where we were actually at is the idea where people will say, why does God allow bad things to happen? So we already know there's no good people, right? So it would be simple and easy to just say bad things happen because there are no good people. But that's actually, theologically, not the end of that discussion. So to push it a little bit further, and I was super excited to have this conversation actually earlier and work through all of this with Kaylee because she asks the best questions. And so when we were talking about this earlier, she says, but mommy, and you guys have heard me give this analogy, metaphor, I don't know, comparison of the just judge, right? So you've got the just judge and a murderer is standing in front of him, and the murderer is telling this just judge that even though he did murder somebody, he's been good for the rest, like all the other days he didn't murder people, and he helped some folks too, which should make up for it. So, maybe murdered one person, but not that bad. He's not as bad as Hitler. And if the judge is a just judge, he's going to say it doesn't matter that you've done good things. That doesn't change the fact that you have murdered somebody and you have to pay for that crime. You have to face the penalty of your actions, regardless of how many good things you've done. It's not a balance. You can't bribe a just judge. So if the judge is just, he's going to send that murderer to prison. And my amazingly, incredibly thought-provoking little 10-year-old daughter looks me directly in the face and says, if the judge is just and he knew that that guy was going to murder somebody's family beforehand, why didn't he stop the man from murdering the family beforehand? Now, see you later, Chris. Have fun. Thanks for checking in on us and watching for so long. I know you guys got a lot going on. Oh, and wow, we're pushing an hour. Sorry about that, guys. This tangent's almost done. So, I thought this was a fantastic question because we just talked about it. I just went through all of this, that God doesn't have to learn anything new. He already knew before the world began everything that there was to know. So does the just judge in our example know that a man is about to murder a person's family before he can even judge, commit judgment? I don't know. Prosecute this person for his crime? Yes, in this example, that judge would have known exactly what day and time. Now, this also opened us up a really fun opportunity to talk about double jeopardy, which was a really fun little side tangent that I won't get into now. But we did go down that little topic of, double jeopardy. Have you guys seen, there's like a Tom Cruise movie, right, about that? And it's too far in my memory to remember, but there's like twins that were hanging out in water or something, and they would see crimes and people would be punished for crimes before they committed them. So basically the way that we walked through it though, with Kaylee, dealing with this particular line of reasoning, would it be right for the judge to stop the murderer before he murders? And is he still just if he allowed the murder to happen instead of stopping it? Now, to compare this to God, what we've already seen, God doesn't create the sin. He doesn't create evil. God decrees it. He uses it for his purposes. He judges it, and eventually he will destroy it. The evil that happens, the sin that happens, we do know the Bible talks quite a bit about his restraining certain levels of evil. Obviously, we all have the ability, the capability of being the next Hitler, if not for the grace of God. There is common grace. Every human being on this planet is given common grace. And even though it's called common grace, there's nothing common about it, but it is the grace that God gives to each and every sinner, that the moment they sin, they're not immediately struck down and they don't immediately begin paying for their sin. So you're given common grace, whether you're a believer or not. You're given air to breathe, food to eat, laughter, love, joy, each day that we all have together. These are all points of common grace from God. So, I don't remember why my train of thought was going that direction. Let me get a drink. It'll totally come back to me. I have absolutely no idea. But, sorry. There's still evil in the world, even though people are enjoying common grace. I have no idea why I went down that little tangent, you guys. If you can remember why I was talking about common grace, let me know. But the reason why, now I remember. Okay, now I remember. So I was explaining that, like, God does hold back. So there's not just, like, constantly horrible, terrible things happening in every single house. But there are some things that happen that God could stop. Certainly he is all-powerful and all-knowing and sovereign, and he can the Bible tells us in several different spots, God does what he pleases here in heaven and on earth. So he is sovereign. Providentially, there are times whenever bad things could happen that are stopped. But there are also times whenever the bad things happen. So is it still a just judge if he doesn't prevent the crime? In this idea, this question is sort of better phrased as fiddlesticks, my brain. It just doesn't want to keep up with the topic. Sorry, I'll get there. Hold on, I'll take another drink because that seemed to help a second ago. So, the judge is evil. No, wait, that's not where I was going. If the judge is allowing the murder that he could have stopped from happening, this sort of idea is basically better said as, why does God allow sin if he's going to punish it, right? So, if this example is played out and God is the good, just judge, if he were to decide that he was going to prevent all sin, all evil, then the rest of the world, all of the people, are no longer intelligent, sentient creations. We are now robots without a choice of good or evil. If there's no more evil, if there's no more sin, and we are no longer even tempted by sin, that's taking it to the extreme, right? So like all sin just taken away, heaven, right? But we're here on earth, still in our fleshly bodies, then we are in fact just robots. Are we doing anything good? No. Even if we don't sin here on earth, we're not actually doing anything good or righteous if we don't have any choice in that. You're a robot not choosing to sin because there is no sin. It doesn't exist in that sort of parallel universe that we just created in our brains. So the choice for the murderer to go in and murder somebody is there. For God to take away all sin, all choices of sin, would be to actually remove any ability to seek righteousness, seek, let's see how to put this. Okay, okay, here, this is a better way to put it. What does the murderer see whenever he looks in the mirror? If the murderer has just killed an entire family, before that murderer killed that entire family, I can tell you this right now, whether or not, well, okay, we don't even have to like say anything different about it. Clearly, if they're capable of murdering an entire family, they are probably not believers. That's not really fruits of the spirit. So whether or not that person murdered somebody, they are still a wretched sinner that is going to justly be sent to hell unless they repent of their sins. But that murderer looks in the mirror and says, I've committed this atrocious crime. And if I look in the mirror of the law, which the Bible tells us that the Ten Commandments are a mirror, and I see reflected back a sinner truly undeserving of anything other than hell, then that particular murderer, I don't know, like maybe Paul, once saved, has more to glorify God through because he's been forgiven more. Those who have been forgiven more are have more to be thankful for. So is that why God sometimes allows a person to go out and murder? I don't actually know the mind of God. I can't actually tell you why providentially every little thing happens. But I can tell you that God didn't create perfect creation, perfect creatures, because then we would be gods. I can tell you that the evil that is allowed, it does happen in his decree. It is happening in his world that he is sovereign over, and it's happening for his purposes. The Jews, the whole country of Israel, was oftentimes judged by people groups that were way worse than they were. God used those people that were incredibly vicious, or there's a particular group that like to sacrifice their children on actual burning hot altars, setting the children on the metal, which killed the babies. That was how God chose to judge Israel several times. he didn't approve of or encourage or create the evil that those people were doing. He doesn't have to, because we're already a part of this fallen world. Nobody has to hold a gun up to your head to tell you to lie or to cheat or to steal or to be prideful or egotistical or idolatrous. Nobody has to hold a gun up to anybody's head and say lust after other people. That's not really something that actually has to happen. So he doesn't have to force anybody. He's not responsible for the sin of mankind. Every human being is responsible for their choice to sin, because we're sentient, intelligent creatures that know that we're not supposed to be doing that. Did I get off topic a little bit? I think I did. So let's go back to actually the topic. Sorry. Okay. Now I know where I was going with that. As a non-believer, we're not talking about Christians. We're going to talk about non-believers, professing believers that are not actually believers, all of the people who are not saved into this little lump that I'm going to talk about right now. Even then, when they do things that are good, what we would consider good things, they are doing them for sinful reasons. No one is good. No, not one. Maybe they're doing it because they want to make up for something sinful that they did, or they want to earn their way to heaven. There's a lot of religions out there that are all about working to get to heaven. They're maybe trying to basically bribe God into letting them into heaven by showing that they're better than other folks. Maybe they want the glory for themselves. They want to be praised. Maybe they just want to look down their nose at other people who aren't doing as good as they are. I can tell you that that's exactly why I did anything good before I was saved, that last bit. I just wanted to be praised. I wanted the glory for myself. The only person worthy of glory is God. We were created to glorify God and make him known. That's it. That's why we're here. We are here to glorify God. God is glorified in both the forgiveness of sinners and the judgment of sinners. So one thing that's super important. Melly, good point. Also, hi. I'm glad to see you in the program. Super serious topic. Sorry. Free will inside the parameters of God's sovereignty is a really great way to put it. Obviously, the term free will, it creates a lot of passionate discussions and stuff. The only person that actually truly had, like, I don't even know the term, like the phrase how to put this, but the only person that had genuine true free will to not sin was Adam and Eve, and they chose to sin, and they cursed the rest of us. So we, as human beings, irregardless of how hard we try, of how much we do, that's why I'm pointing out that even people doing the right things, they're usually, if they're unsaved, they're doing those right things for the wrong reason. Now, that's not to say that saved people can't also, get tripped up by pride and really, sometimes we even feel like we need to earn or sort of, I don't know, not bribe the judge because we're saved, but sometimes I do feel like I'm not doing enough. God did so much for me. Okay, I take that back. I constantly feel like that. I'm not doing enough. But the good things that a believer does, we do out of the love that flows out of our hearts. Love for God, love for one another. It is a effect, not the cause, right? So the cause is salvation. The effect of that salvation is that we pour out our love for one another. A non-believer is going to do the right thing for a sinful reason. So even then, that free will, the function of free will, which I think that you put this perfectly, this is how it stays within the perimeters of God. That doesn't mean that a human being is ever going to live on this earth and be perfect. The only person that's ever going to be perfect is Jesus. That's it. So yes, that's right. So much preaching these days is prideful. Stephen Furtick is an excellent example of that. Mark, you're right. I think 30 seconds is all I can usually put up with of Stephen Furtick's preaching, though. Reminds me of Watchmen, the graphic novel. The point of that is that there is always some ulterior motive to the goodness people show publicly. We're always tainted in some way. Yes, that is such a great way to put it. That is an absolutely great way to put it. The even the people who we sort of hold up, like Mother Teresa is a person that's usually held up as the standard, right? But Mother Teresa, if you read her own journals, it's heartbreaking. She was genuinely trying to earn her way to heaven. It wasn't out of just good motives. There was a purpose for the good things that she was doing. So even if a person is doing the right thing, they're usually doing it for the wrong reasons. There is a sense in which a human being really doesn't truly have the ability to choose like Adam and Eve did. That's an example that we can have. Even in our own context, in our worldview, in our context, in this dimensionality, I guess, because of course God exists outside of time, He exists outside of our dimensions. People who are the saints who've gone before us, they don't exist any longer in this time frame or dimensionality. But folks in this dimensionality, there's never again going to be the choice to say, do I want to allow myself to be sullied by sin? That's not a choice that we get to make. We are born under the Adamic curse in this world. And if you've spent like a little bit of time with toddlers, you don't really have to question that, because they're kind of mean sometimes. Not all of them are always mean, but all of them are mean at least a little bit. I'll never forget the time I was just running through the store with Kaylee, and she was all like, "Mommy, you're stupid." And she was like 2. I was like, I don't even know where you heard that phrase, but we don't call people stupid. And it was really loud, and everybody turned to look at me like, wow, what a horrible mom. It was really, anyways, that's not a squirrel, but just like a little bit of a point to say, all of that to say, why did God create Satan if He knew Satan would fall and tempt Adam and Eve? That was the original question, and we went the long way around because it was super important that we laid down some of the better explanations for this particular reason. Why did God create Satan? If He knew Satan would fall, it was part of His redemptive plan. He did know Satan would fall. He knew Adam and Eve would fall. The plan of redemption is so important whenever it comes to this, because what you have is a world of people who are unable to remain clean. We are unable to remain untainted by the sin of this world. Just like that murderer, once you have sinned, and the actual example that we used with Kaylee was a white dress. So in Jeremiah, he sees the vision of the robes, and they're all clean and beautiful and super white and super, like perfect. And then in that vision, he's covered in, or the robes, the person wearing the robes covered in feces and yucky other stuff from other bodily functions. But the example that we talked about with Kaylee is if you have this beautiful white dress and you spill a little bit of chocolate on that beautiful white dress, a little bit of chocolate ice cream, it doesn't matter how much I clean it. It doesn't matter how hard I try. I'm not going to be able to get that stain out of that beautiful white dress. So you can look at it and say that dress is clean. And it might very well be clean, but it's always going to be tainted by the stain. Because no matter how much you do, after you've sinned, you've still sinned. There's not a balance sheet. There's not a way to erase the past with good actions of the future. And even if you were trying to do the right thing to make up for the fact that you did the wrong thing, you would still be doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. So there has to be a solution. Otherwise, we are all hopeless. We are all here without hope. The redemptive plan of God was that the hopelessness of mankind would be given hope, would be given salvation through the second Adam. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, God the Son, He entered His creation and He lived the perfect life that no one else could live. And He died on that cross and bore not just, it's important that we pay attention to this particular little tidbit here. Not only did He die on that cross, but on that cross, the wrath of God was poured out on Him. That wrath of God was being stored up for you and me. And if you are saved and you've repented of your sins and you've put your faith in Christ, then that wrath that was being stored up for you was poured out on Him. All sin is going to be judged. It doesn't matter what sin it is, whether it's a Christian sin or a Hindu sin or an atheist sin. It doesn't matter whose sin it is. Every single sin that has ever been committed is going to be judged. Either it was poured out on Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago, or it's going to be held to your account whenever you face Judgment Day. So that's why God, knowing that Satan would fall and tempt Adam and Eve, still created him, because he had a plan of redemption. It didn't take him by surprise. That's one of those questions that it's almost like the answer is so simple that I, for so many years, thought around it. Like, it has to be more complicated than just the fact that evil is just the absence of righteousness, that God didn't create that. He didn't create evil. He doesn't tempt us to sin. But we are sinful. We live in this fallen world. And we need a solution to the fallen world. And that solution was the redemptive plan of God. And it started that moment whenever Satan fell. So, I mean, considering the fact that I am a wretched sinner, I beg to differ with Paul that he is the worst of the worst. I'm pretty sure that I can hold that title. Even as a believer, there's not been a single second of a single day that I have given God the glory that he deserves, the honor, the respect, the love that he deserves. That's not ever been something I've done. It's not something I'll ever do, because he deserves so much more than anything I could ever give him, anything that I could ever pour out to him. It's nothing in the drop of what he's done. There's nothing that I could do to earn it. There's just nothing that could possibly earn salvation, because it's too great. And God had that redemptive plan from the very beginning. That's amazing grace. That's why this question, rather than being something difficult or something that we shy away from, be excited the next time somebody asks you that question, because that is a fantastic question to segue into the gospel. And I have perfect faith in all of you guys that you'll do a way better job than I just did, because it took me forever to get through that. But there's one more question, and then we have prayer requests, and then I'll actually let you guys. Oh wait, no, I have to eat this disgusting Oreo. One more question, then I'll eat the disgusting Oreo, then we'll talk about prayer requests, and then I'll let you guys see the sneak peek, and then maybe, just maybe, I'll let you guys go. I don't know, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully this doesn't go on for 2 hours, you guys. Oh, thank you, Mayoshi. I'm glad it made any sense at all, because I sort of lost my train of thought several times. But I get excited about theological topics, so I sort of like, my brain starts going a little too fast for me to really focus. Anyways, so the second question is, and this one's a little bit easier to answer. This one came in through one of the episodes that we did about, and it actually was not my episode on cessationism versus continuationism, which was kind of interesting. It was a different one. Is it wrong to go to God and ask for healing and health? This particular question was asked by somebody who, I think the way that where this particular person was coming from was that they were wealthy, and they didn't see anything wrong with being wealthy or asking God for healing. Now, I can't actually recall where in that particular episode this would have been a problem, but I thought it was a fantastic question to add here, because it is important whenever we are saying, and she actually did point out that Jesus healed and is still healing. So it's important whenever we talk about the miracles, the signs and wonders that we see today that are false signs and wonders. Basically, the sort of, I think you mentioned Todd White earlier, the fake lengthening of the leg that's literally been proven to be completely and totally fake. It's a magic trick. It's a trick of the hand. It's all it is. It's an illusion, right? So that kind of stuff. When we talk about that, it is important that we make sure to clarify, is it wrong to go to God and ask for healing and health? The Bible tells us to pray for one another's health. It tells us that already. So if we are told to pray for one another's health, lay hands on one another whenever we're sick, I believe that's in James 2, right? then yeah, it's not just okay to go to God and ask for healing and health. It's expected. You guys, we can go to God in prayer? Are you kidding me with this? This is one of those things that falls under the amazing grace thing that my mind just can't seem to fathom. I cannot even usually get a hold of, I mean, okay, let's back that up. You can barely get a hold of, I don't know, cell phone companies. If I call my pharmacist, most of the time I'm only gonna get answered by a robot. And the robot is asking me all these questions that have nothing to do with why I'm actually calling. Okay, it's very difficult to get a hold of people these days. But I can go before the God of the universe, the sovereign God, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, in prayer. I can do that. And the Bible tells us to. Absolutely, you should go to God and ask for healing and for health. And particularly the way she put it, I thought was fantastic, because she said, in fear and trembling, go before God in prayer. 100%, absolutely. Go before God in prayer. Ask for healing, ask for health. Do not demand it, command it. In absolutely no way assume that simply because you did that will you actually be made healthy. It's not magic. We're not making we're not making anything happen. Your words don't create anything. No matter how coincidental some of my recent words have been, you can't create anything. That's only something God does. God speaks things into existence. You and I do not. So if you go to God in prayer for your healing, for your health, for somebody else's healing, for somebody else's health, it would be foolish to do so simply because you think that in doing so you will automatically be healed. That's just another way of commanding God to do something. If you think that going before him in prayer is some sort of magic way of earning your healing, then you really are just telling him what you want him to do. Now, if we go before God and we humbly ask him with the understanding that we don't actually deserve to be healthy, we just went through a whole theological discussion of what we actually deserve. And this is important, and I think I've said it several times, and I guess I'll just keep on using this as an example. Sometimes whenever my amazing husband and I aren't always getting along, whenever we're struggling with things, if we're maybe in a little bit of a tiff, or if, I don't know, he eats the last ice cream in the ice cream box, and I want to say to myself, I don't deserve to be treated like that. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to be treated like that. I deserve to be treated like a queen or a princess. And first of all, everybody already knows that he treats me like a queen or a princess, because you guys have all seen it. He's amazing and wonderful, and I love him so much. And I don't recall a time that he's ever eaten the last ice cream, because he's very thoughtful like that. But anyways, it's important for me to remember, whenever I'm chugging through that train of thought, what I actually deserve is hell. I don't deserve a husband that loves me. I don't deserve the air that I breathe. I don't deserve the life that I've been given. I don't deserve any of the comforts that I have been given. I have sinned against the holy God of the universe. I deserve nothing good. There's nothing good in me but Christ. So why should I receive good things? So if you're going to go before God in prayer, in fear and trembling, do so understanding that if God so chooses in his providence, in his sovereignty to heal you, that it is more than you deserve. And it's wonderful whenever that happens. Sometimes God heals people through the doctors or through surgery. Sometimes God heals us just through the natural process of our bodies working through things. Sometimes he miraculously heals us. That's God's sovereignty. It's his choice. That's different than saying that if you do go before God in prayer, you will be healed, or to expect healing. What God has already given me in salvation, in adoption, in sanctification, that's already far more than I deserve. Doesn't mean that I can't go before God and ask him for that healing, for good health, or for somebody else's healing or health. But as long as I'm doing so with the understanding that it doesn't mean that he's going to necessitatively, that's not a word. It doesn't really actually mean that he has to do it or that he will do it. If he does do it, if he does happen to heal somebody, that's something that we can glorify God in. Either way, I have an eternity in glory where I will no longer be sick. I will no longer struggle. I will no longer run into every single doorknob and wall. And my goodness, do they have to make baseboards for beds that are just tucked in enough to where you don't see them? And in the middle of the night, you are beyond a shadow of doubt going to slam into them? Do they have to do that? I don't see why. I mean, it seems like a design flaw. I don't know. That might be a little squirrel. I mean, is it just me? Is there something wrong with me? There's definitely something wrong with me. Don't answer that. Don't answer that question. Don't answer that. I did see a question though from Cammie. Was it actually? Let me make sure. Oh, is when you say I declare in prayer, is that prideful? Absolutely, absolutely. That is. Unfortunately, and again, this is something that I came out of an entire movement that believed that you should declare, you should command. We don't declare anything. We don't. God is the one that decrees and declares. We are wretched sinners that basically should be in awe every second of every day that we are even included in his family. We don't declare anything. Unless you want to declare yourself as a wretched sinner that needs to be saved. I don't see how that would be bad. But it's definitely not the way that they use the declarations. I declare, this and that in their prayer. No, when we go before God, we really need to, really need to maintain a humble mindset, irregardless of whether or not we're in prayer or not. But in particular, one of the things that struck me whenever I was saved, recognizing my wretchedness, coming, directly into the realization that I didn't deserve to be saved, learning the attributes of God, the holiness of God, the omniscience, the omnipotence, understanding that God is holy, 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 next to me and my wretchedness and sinfulness, it was a lot easier, the more I learned about God, to humble myself before him in prayer. So, from my understanding, they say, I declare to show their faith. Sad. It is definitely, I think, okay, let me take it back a notch. There may be people out there who just genuinely do not mean it the way that I would hear it. Because of my background in the Word of Faith movement, I hear the term declare and automatically think about the people who taught me that I should be demanding things in my prayer, that I should be speaking them into existence. So when you declare something in the movement that I came out of, you are putting it out there, you're speaking it out there, that you declare that these things are coming to you. When we go before God in prayer, it should be with humility and thankfulness and just awe that we're even capable of doing it. The Bible even says we don't know how to pray as we ought. Yes, thank you, Mel. That is a great point. That's why Jesus and the Holy Spirit intercede for us. Yes, Jesus ever lives to intercede for us at the right hand of God, because I feel that every time I go before God in prayer. I don't even know how to go about speaking to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. How do you even do that? The first couple of years of being saved, I was like, should I be on my knees? Should I be covering my head? Should I be standing? Should I pray with my eyes closed? Should I pray out loud? Should I pray in my head? I started out as a believer praying out loud, by the way, and recognized one night that I was feeling pride in my prayer. Isn't that ridiculous? The ridiculousness of a little teeny tiny flea, an amoeba. I'm an amoeba next to a hurricane. That's the best little comparison that I can give you. And I was feeling proud of my little amoeba thoughts. Nonsense. So I started praying in my head instead of out loud. Okay, so hopefully that answers that. Definitely it is okay to go before God and ask for healing, so long as we are not doing it with the idea that we are commanding him or forcing him, which is actually the point that we want to push against whenever we're dealing with healing. We don't speak healing into existence. You can't speak yourself into being sick either, you guys. That the idea that you talking about being sick will make you sick is the same idea that you're capable of creating something. You're not. And if you are sick, and you say that you're not sick, then you're lying, and that's a sin. So we don't even have to get into major theology to do away with the idea that you can't tell people when you're sick because you'll be declaring it over yourself. No. If somebody asks you if you're feeling okay and you're not, and you lie and you say, I'm healed, whatever phraseology is used today, you're lying. Don't lie to people. You don't have to tell everybody whenever you're sick. That's okay if you don't want to. But going purposefully and telling people that you're not sick when you are, because you think that saying that you're sick is going to somehow magically convince God not to heal you, is lying, and that's sinful. So, okay, we have some prayer requests, and then, before we get to prayer requests, if you guys in the comment section, if anybody is still in the comment section, have prayer requests, now is the time to type them in there so that we get to them before we gotta go. But now I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this ridiculousness. Chocolate peanut butter pie. Chocolate peanut butter pie Oreo. Why? That's what I can't understand. You smell it. It's a good way to find out if it's gonna be gross. Oh, I can barely smell them at all, actually. The birthday cake ones, you could smell from like downstairs. They were disgusting. They had the worst chemically smell. I'm gonna bite them in the middle, like right here where I can get both sides of this. So Joyce Meyer declares that she is not a sinner anymore. It does not make it true. Thank you, Mark. See, that's just another one of those times when people are lying about things that are, it doesn't matter how many times you declare it. I can declare myself a perfect housewife that doesn't leave baskets of clothes, folded but not put away. It doesn't change the fact that the same basket of clothes that I looked at last Friday whenever we were going live is still sitting over there. Not put away. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try this chocolate peanut butter pie. I'm not a big fan, by the way, of chocolate and peanut butter together. I don't like Reese's. So, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this, but here we go. That's not bad. That is not bad. I can taste the peanut butter. It's very light. You can just barely taste the peanut butter. It's not overwhelming. I can't taste any chocolate. It looks like chocolate. It's a chocolatey color in there, but I can't taste the chocolate. It's good, though. I like it. It's a little too sweet. The regular Oreos aren't this sweet. It might just be a little too sweet for my taste. But at least it's not nasty. So that's good. You guys, that's your Oreo warning for the week. Once again, just get the most stuffed. Why even get anything else? Why bother with chocolate peanut butter pie whenever you can have the most stuff? There you go. I tried it for you guys, though. Now you know. If somebody does offer you a chocolate peanut butter pie Oreo, they're not bad. They don't taste like Oreos, though. It did not taste like an Oreo. It tasted like a graham cracker. This was more of a s'more than that s'more one that we tried the last time. Okay. I love you guys so much that I'm going to keep trying Oreos. It's not because I want to break my diet. It's because I love you. Okay, so the prayer requests that we have, Melly, heart failure, asthma, insomnia, wisdom for relocating. Okay, Melly, we are going to be praying for you. That's some serious health issues there. So we'll definitely be praying for you. I feel you with the insomnia. Wow, yikes. I tried Oreo lemon wafers. They're not as good as Wortman's. Ooh, lemon wafers. I'm a big fan of lemon flavored stuff. So I wonder, I should try those. I should definitely try them. But I love lemon wafers or lemon cookies. I'm a big fan of like anything lemony. It's not going to beat the chocolate chip cookie or the mega stuffed Oreo. Nothing's going to beat the mega stuffed Oreo, obviously. But I should try that. That sounds really, really good. And we're going to be praying for you, Mel. Thank you for letting us know about that, especially relocating with all the other stuff going on. That must be really difficult. Another prayer request that we have is actually from Josh from the Godcast for his ex-wife who's going back and forth to the hospital after having brain surgery. So if you guys could remember his ex-wife in your prayers. Also, Kaylee H. is having their fur friend is seriously sick. They may have to choose between an expensive surgery or putting her down. It's a really difficult discussion to have. It's hard to deal with losing your pets, losing your loved one, like your little loved fur babies, but especially whenever you're having to choose between those two options. So that is our prayer request. Mega Stuffed would save the middle. And I have to look at my phone because I missed a comment. Lemon Oreos are amazing. Ooh, Lori, okay, 2 people telling me lemon Oreos are amazing. I'll have to try that for next Friday. Mega Stuffed, I would save the middle and eat the outside first. You know, everybody eats their Oreos differently. For the most stuffed are so stuffed that I don't need milk. And honestly, I usually don't eat milk. Nobody eats milk. Unless, like, it curdles, and you shouldn't do that. I usually don't dip my Oreos in milk unless they are less than most stuffed. So I used to not do it with the Mega Stuffed. I used to just eat the Mega Stuffed regular. But I started using the milk, and now I can't stop myself, obviously. So, obviously, that's probably doesn't make it any better for your health, but like, you need vitamin D, right? I don't know. But everybody eats Oreos differently. Some people twist it and eat the I think that's what Kaylee does. She takes the top off and eats the middle, and then eats the chocolate cookies. Everybody does it differently. I think it's kind of fun. But seriously, Kaylee, find the most stuffed. If you like the Mega Stuffed, the most stuffed are insane. They are fantastic. Probably super bad for you. What does that say? Here's 30-minute breakdown of Evil and Free Will. The show is only about... That's a good point, Patrick. I did totally say that this show is only about, goofiness, and then we did totally break down a really serious topic. Was I right, though? Is that one of the topics that you guys were thinking about? Obviously, I'm going to be editing that episode, so I could totally just, go back through. Remember 2 Samuel 16, I think, is what you mean, Patrick, rather than, did I remember something that you didn't? Did I remember something that somebody else didn't? Oh, you guys pray for me to be humble, because that did totally just, boost my pride. For everything created by God is good, and nothing is to be rejected if it is received with gratitude. Lauren does not include pineapple pizza. Does this not include pineapple pizza? You're so funny. You are so funny. No, it doesn't include pineapple pizza. Pineapple pizza didn't exist yet whenever that scripture was written. Obviously, if it was written in today's terminology, it would be said, except for pineapple pizza. Because pineapple pizza is, it's blasphemous. It's deserving of one of these.
Blasphemy!
That's funny, though. You like that, Patrick? Kaylee just totally, went along with your scriptural stuff against my stand against pineapple pizza. On eating milk, I used to like snacking on milk powder when I was younger. Oh, isn't that funny? That is so funny. I freeze milk too. Do you guys really freeze milk? I do it on accident sometimes. I don't do it on purpose. When I do. Okay, a possibility. I doubt it, Patrick. It's probably 2 Samuel 14, and I was just being ridiculous. I think that's it, though, you guys. I think I have actually covered everything. My goodness, I hope so. I kept you guys for a really long time. I did put in the links below the links to the Facebook group if you guys want to join us in the Tulips and Honey Facebook group, where you guys can post questions and get really gracious answers. There's some folks in the group that have been believers for longer than I have been alive, and I'm super thankful every time they take the time to answer questions. If you want to share things there, it's a really great place for resources. I always include all of my, I always encourage my podcasting friends and my blogger friends to post their stuff there in the group so that other people can enjoy those resources. A lot of times Mayoshi is in the group sharing fantastic books that are free or cheaper to read at any given time. Of course, we have all of our wonderful admins there doing a fantastic job keeping inappropriate or theologically bad stuff out of the group. So that's something that I wanted to make sure that I put in the descriptions below. Also, just in case you guys did not already know about it, the Open Hearts in a Closed World Conference, which is coming up, of course, on the 12th of July. There is a ton of giveaways right now for this conference. Some fantastic theological books. We were super duper humbled to be sponsored by the Masters University, and they have given us so many wonderful things. Media Gratia as well, once again, sponsored us. They've given us a ton to give away. Of course, Brandon Kimber from AGTV has given us a what is it? A subscription. That's the word. So if you haven't yet subscribed to AGTV, each hour of the conference, there's going to be a giveaway for a subscription to AGTV. So we definitely want to encourage you guys to, even if you're a guy and not a gal, to join the group over on Open Hearts in a Closed World Facebook page or Instagram and see if you guys can win some of that stuff, because there's still some great giveaways. So I linked to that down below. I'm just going to pull up those pictures really quickly in case anybody watching now didn't get the chance to see this. This is the information for the conference. Of course, you will see my ridiculously goofy face in the intermissions. So if you haven't yet had enough of my nonsense, I'll be doing the intro and, of course, the intermission there. We have City of Light doing the worship. And then we'll have each day 2 sessions, two women speaking. This is a free women's conference, all online. So even if you don't get to see it live, it'll still be there later on. You can watch it. It'll remain up on YouTube and on AGTV. So now I'm glad that we did a ridiculously long live stream today, since you missed the first hour, and nothing that was said in the first hour was important. So you're totally fine. I'm just kidding. I can't remember anymore what was said in the first hour. So if I said something important in the first hour, I'm sorry. I was just kidding. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have for you wonderful humblebees. And I guess I will see you all next week. Don't forget that on Monday, Cave to the Cross Apologetics, our resident Brother B, has once again joined me on the program to talk about covenants and the mixing of religion and politics and lots of other really important stuff. We talk a good deal about philosophy, and we talk about the Harbinger, Jonathan Cahn's The Harbinger. So it's an important topic. I was really excited to get the chance to talk to him about it. He did a fantastic job. So don't miss that on Monday. And yeah, that's it. I love you, wonderful humblebees. I will see you all later. Enjoy your sneak peek. Bye, guys.
If you look at all preceding generations, they've all had to rebel against something. This is my theory, is that you had the baby boom generation, and then the free love expression came after that, and then Generation X with the kind of a nihilistic point of view, and then you have people dipping into more sexual proclivities, and then we have what we have now, where the rebellion is you can't call someone a male or female. Where do you go from there? I think the only way is to circle back. And I think the next generation is going to just be super conservative, which I'm not saying is a good thing either, because one of the things that I liked about the era that we're in is that we're no longer hearing people say, I am a Christian because I'm an American. I'm really glad that, like, there's this idea that we're winning if there are more attendees at church. No, we're winning when the elect people of God are called from the dead and follow the Master's voice. And it doesn't matter about numbers. It matters about genuine, faithful commitment to who God is. And so church isn't there to be an outreach. You as the church are the outreach. The church building that you occupy, the sanctuary, that's where you learn the skills and the theology and the understanding of what God wants and the exposition of Scripture and that means of grace.